You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Cabral Concept. We have a fun Training Thursday show ready for you today. We are going over, like we do each and every January, the predicted trends in the health and fitness industry. This is something I've been following for quite some time, somewhere around the year 2000 when I got into this full time. And what I've always been looking at is just trying to stay ahead of the curve in terms of what's new, what's fascinating, what's engaging to people in terms of taking their health, their fitness, their exercise, and their body transformation to the next level. Many years ago, when I was first getting into this health and fitness industry, I was in college and I said, right now, my health is a mess. I can't get my health better. No doctor seems to be able to help me. They're just waiting for me to get worse, they said, so hopefully then they can figure out something else to do. Well, that's obviously no way to go about living your life. So what I did was get right into the nutrition and fitness industry. I became a nutritionist. I became a personal trainer while I was in college. So for me, it was incredibly positive. It was most likely, I have no doubt, the way that I was able to keep myself on track during my darkest and worst times. And that was because I was able to focus on the one thing I could really control, and that was going to the gym and exercising. Now, I might not have had the energy, but I did it anyways. Was it the smartest thing to do at the time? Probably not when you're trying to recover from something like Addison's disease, etc. But what it did was it kept my mind strong when I felt like I was all by myself, when I felt like I have to do this in order to persevere because I didn't know what else to do. And then nutrition was the other thing I could control, right? I got to choose what I put into my body. Now I was in college and I was eating obviously the cafeteria-based food because that's essentially what I could afford. I was on that meal plan. And so it wasn't a lot of options, but I still got to choose from their options. Every day, I could choose whatever the gruel was that they were serving, or I could go to this separate line and I could get chicken and I could get a potato and I could get maybe some rice and I could go to the salad bar. So that's what I chose to do, even in college when a lot of other people might be getting the burgers or grilled cheese or whatever it might be. I knew because I did run a food sensitivity test that those foods weren't the best for me. And at the same time, I was trying to follow more of a bodybuilder-based diet, which, believe it or not, was actually very healthy. It was paleo before paleo even existed, right? So what we're focusing on are whole foods. So that's what I did. Was it more protein than I should have eaten? Yes, probably. Was it way more meat than I should have eaten? Yes, probably. I know that now. But again, it allowed me to transform my body inside of the gym and outside of the gym with that nutrition. And I'll never forget that, and it's something that I do to this day. That's my roots, right? My roots in this industry are being, a young 18, 19-year-old nutritionist and personal trainer working with clients twice, 3 times or more my age. And it was a great learning experience for me. I got to see that other people, maybe they had their own issues that they were working on. Sometimes it was weight loss and sometimes it was their own health. Again, never forget it. And for me, I started out with just a basic certification. Then I eventually moved into a lot of these others with the National Strength and Conditioning Association, National Academy of Sports Medicine, and being a member of the American College of Sports Medicine, which is where I would like to take you right now. I became an active member of the American College of Sports Medicine a couple years back when I decided that even though it's not the personal training recommendation that I recommend for most personal trainers starting out, typically I recommend the National Academy of Sports Medicine. It's the most applicable to everyday people sitting down for a job or, working out of your house, whatever it might be. National Strength and Conditioning Association, absolutely great for training athletes. American College of Sports Medicine, more for the medical-based field. And if you're looking at doing prehabilitation, post-rehabilitation, it's absolutely fantastic. Now, they're all great. I mean, over time, I tell people just to get them all. They're like, which one's the best? I'm like, well, who are the majority of your clients you're going to be working with? Your average client is going to be best suited for the National Academy of Sports Medicine. And I've talked about this before on previous podcasts. You're welcome to check out all those organizations. They're all great. And my very first certification when I was literally 18 years old was the American College of Exercise and American College of Exercise, ACE. And then every few months, not every few months, but every 6 months, I got a new certification. And that allowed me to continue to progress. I was learning. I felt like I was able to apply things in my own life, which is really what I want for you. But the American College of Sports Medicine, no doubt, does the best research out there. So let's give them the accolades they deserve. So they were in Boston 3 years ago, and I was at the local conference. I was speaking with people there, and it was absolutely fantastic. But the American College of Sports Medicine every single year comes out with their essentially top 20 trends. We're going to go over the top 10 with a couple honorable mentions because the top 10 trends are showing where this health and fitness industry are going, what you're going to see more of in the future. I know we have a lot of personal trainers, we have a lot of exercise enthusiasts, health coaches who listen to the podcast. But, let's just say you're someone that's looking to get into exercise. This is where the industry is essentially moving, and that's why I want to bring this to you right now. So let's go through our top 10. With the first one, really interesting. This debuted just about, I think, 3 years ago or so, that cracked the top 10 list for the American Council of Sports Medicine survey. Now, what are they doing? Well, they're surveying tens of thousands of people in the industry to see where it's going. And that's the amazing thing about this is that when they look at it, they're in the industry, right? They're running it. They are the people to look at. So they're asking, okay, what's going on in the media? What's going on with health and fitness professionals? So I really do take this table to heart. They're top 20. And in my opinion, it's pretty spot on for the most part. Okay. So wearable technology is the first one. What is that? Well, it's as simple as this. All the smartwatches, right? A lot of people wear the Apple Watch. And I don't wear the Apple Watch. I know that in the future I'll probably trend in that direction, but I really try to cut down on my Bluetooth and all my Wi-Fi based devices touching my body for the whole day, right? So what I'll do is I'll use them, but not the whole day. So when I'm training for a specific thing, so again, I'm the type of person that always needs the goal. I'm a competitive, I think, in a good way. I no longer am trying to be the best or dominate or anything like that. I just love to push myself. So it's me against me in a friendly way. So I love doing, once I got out of bodybuilding, all that. And again, I shared my story before. I got injured about 6 weeks out before competition, tore my brachioradialis, and decided that it wasn't for me, especially what I was doing to my body to get to that level. I knew even back then, early 20s, that it was not healthy for me. But now, I do what's called sprint triathlons. Now, you might say, well, triathlons aren't great for the body. Well, they're not when you do an Ironman triathlon, and I completely agree. 10, 12, 16 hours of exercise in a row and 2, 3, 4 hours a day of training is not great for the average person. Well, not great for anyone. That's the truth. Way too much catabolic nature there. But a sprint triathlon, I recommend it to anybody. I'll talk about it more towards the springtime, but it's 80, 90 minutes of work for most people. You can even take longer, but it's swimming, it's biking, and it's a run, and it's not that bad. I'll go into that in the future. I don't want to make that this, but the reason I talk about that is I use wearable technology when I'm training for that. So I can look at, my speed on a bike, and I can look at my time on my watch as well. And I can use that through an app on my phone, or I've used in the past some of the GPS-based watches, such as Garmin and others as well that are out there that are doing great things. And I'm often looking at my heart rate as well. I like to train within my heart rate zone when I'm pushing myself running or etc. And running has never been one of my favorite things, but I do it because I can see a lot of the benefits with my body. I just don't overdo it. So I simply don't train that hard in that. But wearable technology is only going to become greater. Without a doubt, you're going to see shirts, like t-shirts, that are going to give you feedback. You're going to see many more devices that not only will you be wearing, not only will be on the Apple Watch or phone, but believe it or not, will be embedded in the future. And the jury's out on that. I'm certainly not leaning in that direction at all to embed a foreign substance under my skin. But anyway, that is coming. So that's number one. Keep looking for trends in that direction. Number two is this, group training. Now, there's no doubt group training has been growing over the years. And one of the reasons why, and I worked in health clubs for many years, is that group training allows you to, one, get it as a free add-on for a group class when you have your health club membership. Or number two, there can be smaller group training, which I'm not sure if they break this one down later, that you might pay a fraction of personal training, and you're able to do that with a group, maybe like 3 people or 6 people, and you get to feed off other people's energy. So really exciting. I think this can go into a lot more group classes. I'm going to consider that a little bit different. But what I want to talk about next is the rise of HIIT training. If you've ever heard of HIIT training before, you might be confused as to what it is. Well, it's HIIT, and it stands for High Intensity Interval Training. Now, this is something that has increased over the years because of the increased interest in how do we work out for less time but get better results. And that's the truth. You can actually do that. That's really scientifically researched to show you can get better results in less time in terms of body transformation and overall physique. So what do we do? Well, what we need to do are things such as short bursts of exercise. In our studio in Boston, it's just StephenCabralStudio.com. If you are in the Boston area, you can check it out. That is where we help clients basically transform their bodies. That's the goal of it. It's a body transformation studio. It's not an athletic training center. It is to help clients transform their body through nutrition, healthy lifestyle, exercise, all of that, right? It's a high-level service where we help people get to whatever goal they desire. That's it, right? So here's the thing. We use high-intensity interval training. We'll do it anywhere from 20-second to 60-second based intervals, or if we're using actual resistance training, which is how we like to do it, it'll be anywhere from 60 seconds to 3 minutes with an equal amount of time off. Now, if you do an all-out 20-second sprint or 30-second sprint, you will need about 3x minimum, in my opinion, rest ratio for the work that you put in. So let's just say you get on an upright bike and you just sprint for 20 seconds all out. You're going to need 40 seconds to 60 seconds minimum in order to let that heart rate come back down, catch your breath, and then just go right back into the sprint. And of course, one of the things that made this so popular is the 4-minute Tabata. If you've never heard of that before, just go to StephenCabral.com/podcasts and type in Tabata, Tabata, and you will find out all about it, as it's 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off for 4 minutes. Check it out. I believe there's also a video there as well. So for me, though, high-intensity interval training can be a lot of different things. I think a spin class is a little bit of a hybrid. I think you can absolutely get in some interval-based work in a spin-based class. I think I'm not a huge advocate of many boot camps. I just think it's simply too many repetitions, and I believe there can be a lot of repetitive motion breakdown in the joints. I just think doing 500 squats is a bit much for a workout, so a lot, again, not all boot camps are equal. I'm not saying that, but for me, there's also a breakdown in form. So that's why I'm not a huge advocate of group boot camp based classes. But if you have direct supervision and you're not just doing literally like 300, 400, 500 repetitions of squats and lunges and all that, then I think that it could be a good option for a lot of people. So I want people to exercise, right? So whatever gets you moving, I'm happy with, as long, though, as it can be done in the long term. A lot of things you can do in the short term, but let's think about, well, how can we do this for the next 20, 30 years? So it's a good question to ask yourself. Is what you're doing right now something you can maintain for 30 years? Because if it's not, it's probably a little bit too much right now, okay? The nice thing about high-intensity interval training, you could do a normal weight workout, you could do whatever you like, and then you can do 10 minutes of intervals after the workout. And again, all of these topics are discussed on previous podcasts on the Training Thursday days, the TT days, over at StephenCabral.com/podcasts. Okay, the next one are fitness programs for older adults. Now, this is one that never seems to drop outside of this top 20. And the reason is this. Baby boomers population, still, we have such a significant number of baby boomers they have the ability and time and disposable income for a lot of people, not everyone, of course, to be able to exercise or buy exercise equipment or join a group class. My problem is this: we don't have enough total baby boomers getting into exercise in the first place. They weren't indoctrinated with it, in their day and age when they were growing up, and especially women, which is too bad. Now, we have many, many women in our studio and, of course, in my own private functional medicine integrative health practice that, let's say they're in their later 60s, earlier 70s, and they're like, I didn't even really play that many sports when I was younger. I don't really know about exercising. Why would I lift weights? Won't I hurt myself? But the truth is that fall prevention alone and balance is one of the best ways for a longer, healthier life, because it's been shown that many people, especially women, that do fall and they fracture their hip or leg or anything that puts them into rehab or takes them out of their walking and normal routine, potentially leads to moving into assisted living or a nursing home at an earlier age. And when that happens, oftentimes life expectancy can go down. So my goal is, let's get people active. I would love people that are 70 years old to think, I have 20, 30 more years, right? 20, 30 more years of my life. The more I exercise, now don't start with a lot of exercise, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, that's all we need every other day. We can work up from there, right? Use my phases of exercise, right? Go back, check out the previous podcast on walking, then some cardio, then some body weight training, which we're about to talk about next. And then we can get into some of the intervals. So, that's the thing, is as you graduate, you improve your body's hermetic stressors, so your body's ability to deal with stress. You'll actually increase energy, which is the strangest thing about exercise, is that it's hard in the beginning. And then as your body adapts, it gradually gets easier. And then you have more of a buffer to everyday stress and not being as tired. So it's absolutely incredible. If you are listening to this and you're in your later 60s or 70s or 80s or 90s or 100s, and yes, we do have 100-year-old clients, that you get into the game, that you get your body moving. You can check out the research of Dr. Wayne Westcott that I always quote, because Dr. Westcott, I was a mid 20-year-old, and I would chat with him because he was down in Quincy, and I brought him in one time for a seminar for a bunch of clubs and spas that I was overseeing, and he really showed the research twice a week, and you'll get phenomenal benefits. So love that. Let's get more people into exercise. Body weight training is number 5. Now, this has been on the list for a little bit. It made its big debut about 5 years ago, especially as TRX was becoming more popular. But bodyweight training, honestly, it is the way to go. At our studio, what we do, and I always share everything we do, we start out with unilateral-based movements. We start out with really correcting exercise motion. And here's why. There's no need to add heavy weights if your form is off. You're just more likely to get injured, and that additional weight is just going to compound dysfunctional movement patterns. What does that mean? So if you're already squatting improperly or lunging improperly and you add more weight, it's only going to get worse. But what happens is, if you correct the movement patterns, you don't make people feel like they need to lift a lot of weight, learn your own body weight first, and then you move into the weights. Well, not only will you get much better results, you're not going to get injured either. So really great thing to be following. I'm a huge, huge advocate of body weight training. And then, yes, you can add more weight after that for certain exercises, such as your bigger compound movements. I think you will get a lot of benefit from doing some weight training with deadlifts, squats, with some presses, rows, pull downs, because you're not going to stay balanced if you don't. Your posterior chain, I don't care who's talking, it's going to be a real challenge to be as strong with those rhomboids, which help support your posture, or your glutes or your hamstrings, because we are an anterior chain dominant people. We're always moving forward, pushing forward, braking with our quads. So some posterior chain work, which again, I've spoken about before, it's the back side of the body, the side that you don't see in the mirror, so we don't train it as much, right? That's a big one. The next one, number 6, is employing certified personal trainers. And this is always on the list because it's this reason. And this is what I've come to see over 20 years, is that you can hire a personal trainer because and obviously hire a good personal trainer, NASM certified, ACSM, NSCA certified. that the reason that you hire them, yes, they're going to give you, hopefully, the best exercise program for you, right? They're going to customize it for you. So you're not just going to tear a workout out of a magazine. You're going to actually get a great workout for you. Nothing better, in my opinion. There's nothing better. But here's what's even better than getting your own customized program: an accountability partner. Like, our personal trainers use my nutrition plan and they use our healthy lifestyle, all of that. But it's so much more than that. You can have the best program in the world, but if you don't show up to the gym and you don't get in your workouts, I don't care what the plan is. I would rather just have someone go through the motions, basic workout, but be in the gym or at their home gym or wherever it is, than do no workout at all. So signing up with a personal trainer, at least for the first 12 weeks, for twice a week, I can't recommend that enough. Because twice a week means you are guaranteed to get in that gym twice a week because you're not going to waste your money. That's my opinion on it. Set up a Tuesday and Thursday session with a personal trainer. Try to get one more in on the weekend. If you do that, you're a Tuesday, Thursday, and now Saturday or Sunday workout. If you do that, you are never going more than 2 days without a workout. It's absolutely incredible. I'm telling you right now, try it out. 12 weeks, a 12-week investment, right? Anywhere in the world, you will find a personal trainer. Honestly, I was over in India working with personal trainers, developing one of the first high-end studios over there. And to this day, it's an absolutely phenomenal studio. We brought over equipment which they took months to even import. We had kettlebells before anybody else, TRX over there. They were one of a kind. Pretty incredible. So can't recommend enough. Hire a personal trainer twice a week to get yourself into the game. And then you'll learn a lot at the same time, right? You'll learn about nutrition, you'll learn about exercise, you'll learn about movement patterns, and you'll learn about correcting what's wrong with your own form. Yoga is moving up once again. Sometimes it's up, sometimes it's down. Well, here's why. Because I believe that we're starting to get back more into ancient-based traditions. I really believe it. I honestly believe that. People are interested when I do Ayurvedic-based podcasts. They're interested in Eastern-based philosophy that I talk about on the Motivation and Mindset Mondays. So what we're finding is that what was once old is now becoming new again, right? And these things trend. But here's the thing, they never go out of style. Yoga never goes out of style, especially a gentler form of yoga called Hatha yoga. Now, there are many great forms of yoga, so I believe they can be really great. They really can. But oftentimes we need to do yoga to balance our go, go, go. So we don't always need 90-minute hot yoga or something that pushes us really hard. Oftentimes we need a 40-minute, 60-minute Hatha yoga class that calms the nervous system, that focuses on the breath, that holds the pose and relaxes our body. So I'm a huge advocate of Hatha yoga, without a doubt. And you can do it right at home as well. Like, if you want to do yoga at home, you can really do that. You honestly can. You can pop on a 30-minute YouTube video. I don't believe anybody sells DVDs anymore, and I don't even have a DVD player, so that probably won't work. But you could probably get an external hard drive and hook it up to your laptop and then play one that way as well. But any way to do it, and of course, there's a lot of apps, but unless you're using an iPad, it's kind of small on your phone to really get good technique and form. All right, functional fitness training. Now, this is number 9. And I think it's making more of a top 10 breakthrough. But here's the thing with functional fitness training. It's now been around since I started in 2000. So that was the rise, basically, of the National Academy of Sports Medicine. I was easily within the first year or two of certified pros through that. And it doesn't mean that that makes me special or anything. I happen to work for one of the largest health clubs in the United States, one of the most high-end, and they came in and they actually trained us. So I was just fortunate to be introduced to it, to be honest with you. And but it's absolutely incredible. So what does functional fitness training mean? Well, it means going back to actual functional movements. It doesn't mean standing on an exercise ball and trying to squat. No, but it does mean, what are the movements that you're going to do in everyday life? What do those movement patterns look like? They are deadlifts. They are squats. They are things like a lunge. They are things like a backwards lunge. As you're squatting, you're basically moving down. It's a split squat. A lunge is basically a split squat. So it's looking at those movements. It's looking at presses. It's looking at pull downs. It's looking at presses overhead when you have to lift something overhead. It's picking up your kids. It's doing chops. It's functional movements that you would do for sports or everyday life, and getting rid of a lot of the other movements that don't necessarily serve the body. Huge advocate of that, and really any ACSM, NASM, or NSCA personal trainer will teach you those. Number 10, I love. This is it. Exercise is medicine. Exercise as medicine. So ACSM, of course, does a great job of that, right? With their American College of Sports Medicine membership and their certified professionals, they help to bridge the gap with doctors, with health coaches. And what they do is they actually look at a person's state where they're at right now, and they can help to begin to implement certain types of exercise for that person. So huge fan, and I want to see more of this crossover with exercise and medicine. I really do. I want to see the two truly come together. So big fan. Other things that you're going to see on the rise, couple honorable mentions are mobile exercise apps. We talked a little bit about with those wearable apps, but there's no doubt we're going to see an explosion with different types of apps to help you with the interval training, to be your personal trainer right there. I love seeing myofascial foam rolling. If you don't know what that is, just simply type in at foam rolling at stephencabral.com/podcast. You'll see some videos there as well. And I have to mention this. One of my other favorite ones is outdoor activities. That's breaking the list. That's number 17 this year. And the reason is, I believe, yes, there are days to be in the studio or gym getting in our workout. There's no doubt about it. And I do the same, right? I try to practice what I preach. I'm not perfect by any means, but I try to practice what I preach. But I get outside when I'm able to. Now, cold Boston winters, forget about it, right? But when it's May through September, early October, I'm outside. There's no doubt about it. And the reason is, it's so great to be in nature and exercising at the same time. So what I'm going to do today is link up a photo of all top 20 on the American College of Sports Medicine list. And for that list, simply head on over to stephencabral.com/1091. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in today. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them right over on Instagram. Just my name, Stephen Cabral. And if this episode was helpful, please do feel free to share the word with anyone else you believe it could serve. Before you go, I wanted to share a personal story with you. The real reason I began to get well finally is because I figured out what was wrong with me. And that might seem pretty obvious, but I went from doctor to doctor for over 2 years before discovering at-home functional medicine lab testing. These are the labs that enabled me to finally figure out what was wrong with my hormones, blood sugar, electrolytes, and gut health. And once I knew what was wrong, I could then follow a proven plan in order to rebalance my body from the inside out. This is why I believe so strongly in functional medicine lab testing and why I've made it my mission to share these labs with the world. Now at equa.life, you can order an at-home lab test or a lab bundle for you and your family and be able to complete it within the week. Plus, the EquaLife difference is that you're not left to try to read and figure out these labs on your own. We explain what your lab numbers mean, what they mean in the much bigger picture, and then how to go about rebalancing your body in order to heal. To see our full selection of lab tests, or to set up a free lab selection call to find out what labs may be best for you, simply head on over to equa.life/labs. And do remember, we ship these all over the world. To find out more and to set up your free lab selection call, simply head on over to equa.life/labs. That's EQUI.LIFE/labs.